Welcome to Courageous Conviction. Remember that Jeff and I record each Saturday 5 episodes. So please hit the like button, subscribe so you catch all 5 episodes. We usually start out with one theme or topic. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes to really understand it. Some things are more sensitive than others right now, what's going on in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's jump into this video.
I said, you want to talk about it? Long short, we had a meeting the other day. We're negotiating this with the owner. It's a $350,000 job. It'll book us from June all the way till December, right? And I have monthly goals that we try to shoot for, and it'll pretty much reach our monthly goals for those 6 months. My point being that if we lock that job in, I'm gonna have to put a bunch of work in up front to lay it all out, get the finance, to lay that whole thing out, right? And to phase it out. But after that, the first couple of weeks, this can be all about running the subs and what work we're going to do in there. But I won't have to worry about going out and drumming up work, right? So it's only 6 months. Okay, great. But in those 6 months, we'll have all of our licenses. Yeah. And so that will open up doors for us as well. And so the idea was that it wasn't something that was typical for us, a bunch of smaller jobs, what we deal with, mostly remodel smaller jobs and those kind of things. It wasn't that. It was a bigger job this time that came along, but wouldn't have come along had I not accepted to go with him and help him that day. So
right. The Spirit told you.
Yeah, the Spirit told me, and I paid my tithing the Sunday prior, right? Yeah. And I finally got myself, caught back up again, because unfortunately with us, you're always paying it after the fact, right? Yeah. So, okay, I make my money, here's my profit, here's what I pay my tithing on, and I pay it, right? But my point being, so I felt prompted. Had I not been in a position where I could have felt the Spirit touch me, I wouldn't have accepted. I would have said, no, I really got to do something with my kid. Right. Thank you. And I would have, I would have gone with him, but I just felt prompted to go with him. And not just that, but we had an obstacle for my wife getting this other license, because it's just a situation. We had an obstacle and we needed some help in getting through that obstacle, some legalities here. And he is a person who's qualified to do that. And he just offered, he said, hey, I'll just help her. I'll help her get through that. Right. So my point being, a lot of opportunities open up, not just for this right now. Now, maybe we won't get that job, but the opportunities to help us get the license are going to be there. And we have to go out and drum up and hustle out in the streets. Not that we have to stop marketing. We got to keep going until we lock all that in.
Right.
But that was my point.
That's the thing. The things happen, right? When we have and we maintain our faith, despite all the obstacles that happen in life, things present themselves, and it doesn't always work out the right way. We think that is the right way anyway, but it does always work out as long as we continue. And part of having faith is paying tithing. Part of having faith is listening to the Spirit. When that member of the church said, hey, what are you doing on Wednesday? And you realizing that when the Spirit said, hey, maybe you should pay attention to that situation. And
now,
you did.
I want to say this too. And I credit this to some of our success. I was talking this to my wife the other day, and I said, honey, when the jobs have come in, like the winter months are the worst for us, especially in this area. When the jobs have come in during the winter months, and we needed to do the work, they weren't the ideal jobs. They were the ugly jobs. They were the jobs where I had to get in and get poop on my hands, and get in there and be up facing with wax rings on toilets that were just just covered with feces and nasty stuff. And it's just jobs I had to get in with the plumbing stuff. I don't like getting in with all wet plumbing that's been sitting there for 30 years with a leak or something that's but
probably a little humbling.
It's been very humbling for us, and to get into the homes with all these with rat poop and mice poop, and it's just I'm coming up, my kids run to hug me when I come home from the day. I'm like, you can't touch me, guys. I'm just really dirty, and I want to hug them, and I just like, yeah, you can't. I got rat.
Gotta go take a shower.
Yeah, I got it cleaned up first, and I told her, I said, I've taken those jobs. I didn't just sit back and wait for the job that I thought was the ideal job that the Lord should give me. I looked at that like what we needed was to pay the bills, to have the income coming in, and to put the food on the table. So I'll do what I got to do for that. And so those opportunities come along. And when you take those little ones, I think the Lord will then feed you bigger ones once in a while. But it keeps us humble, right? And so I wanted to say that, the opportunity may not be something that we want it to be. It just might be an opportunity to work and to create greater income whether it's what you want or don't want to do. But if you do it, then the blessings are expanded, right?
Hey, this life is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy when especially when you got a couple of kids and we don't know what's happening with the economy other than, going south. And it doesn't look like the prospect is getting much better. And we're in an election year. There's a lot of things that's going on. The church is divided. We have to listen to the Spirit. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is by being faithful. There's a lot of people that are dropping their faith because they're like, hey, it doesn't work. I'm like, it does work. It does work. You just can't stop having faith. And, Elder Holland, I remember, my wife reminded me of that mustard seed, having the faith of a grain of a mustard seed. He talked about that, in a conference talk, a few years back. And she reminded me of that video. And so, that's what I've got on my agenda today. But, to stay tuned. And I think that as long as we stay tuned, we're going to get through it. Things are going to keep going south for a lot of people. And as long as we have gratitude in our hearts and see things the right way, not getting upset with ridiculous things like, hey, the church has a lot of money. Why do they need my tithing? No, I'm paying tithing for me. I'm paying tithing because I need that in my life. I'm grateful I have the opportunity to pay tithing because, it teaches me something I never would have learned had I not paid tithing. You don't know that unless you live the law. And when you live those laws, then we understand why we live them. It's not about works and getting ourselves, in the right place with God. God already thinks we're awesome. He knows we have our shortcomings, and he's put things in place for us to learn through the atonement of Jesus Christ and have our sins washed away. But he also has put this in place for us so that we can learn, step by step, precept upon precept. And we don't learn quickly. It's not a get rich to, scheme. It's, all in one day. But the wealth comes in many different ways. The wealth from tithing comes from spiritual wealth, physical wealth, by living these laws. You go ahead. What do you think about that?
No, I was going to jump on even. I was just going to throw mental in there too with you. But you're right. And wealth, and we don't. And for just to our listeners, I know you know this, Jeff. I want to clarify this a little bit. We're not going to you pay your tithe to become wealthy. You pay your tithe, the opportunities open up to pay your bills, to put food on the table, to provide for your needs, right? Then maybe some for your wants. But it definitely will help you climb that road to become wealthy. As long as that's what you want to do for the right reasons. Well, you can even do it for the wrong reasons. My wealth climb was, I felt for all the right reasons. Ended up being my desire was right, and I was right. But it just kind of, I got caught up in it and felt that I had to keep maintaining it. Then I ended up liking the lifestyle, especially outside the church. Right. It was like, okay, so they were different. But my point back to the tithing is, we become wealthy.
I think we can become wealthy because we think we did it.
It's internal. It's an internal wealth.
God gives us everything we have. If we are grateful in our hearts and we're willing to release that 10%, because that's all it is. It's not much. That's not a big ask. Then we're showing that gratitude. We believe that ourselves. Like, hey, this didn't come from me.
I thank you for being with us on Courageous Conviction. Remember, there's 5 episodes each week that we put out. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes, so stay with us, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and don't miss tomorrow's episode on Courageous Conviction.